Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an article titled, Why Single Men Love Growing Old. And guys, this whole article is pretty much about a guy reviewing his life and coming to the realization through life experience and also some research he's conducted that pretty much, guys, obviously, things are going to end well for us. At the end, we're going to come out on top. And this is in particular for guys that are into dating and relationships, not guys that have completely written off women for life. I mean, they're going to be fine too, obviously, because they don't have to deal with that bullshit. But for the guys that enjoy dating and hooking up and all that, we're going to come out on top. And it gets into the fact that how guys generally age like fine wine. When we get to our 30s, and you're going to see how he gets into this, that's when our prime begins. And a lot of channels, just like me with stories I've gone over and things I've talked about, point this out, that guys, they start their peak begins, their prime begins in their 30s, while most women, that's when their peak ends, okay? And I'm not saying, I've made this clear before, that you can't get darn good looking women that look good in their 30s, 40s, 50s, but they obviously got to work really hard to take care of themselves, and there are plenty out there, believe me, but it's not the same as their prime in their teens and 20s. But for guys, for us, it really begins in our 30s as we get a lot more life experience, maturity, confidence, and big surprise, resources and money, okay? And so it's not like when we're in our teens and 20s, you can't get women. Of course you can. I mean, even the most blue-pilled, meek, beta male guy can get women in his teens and 20s, but he's at the bottom of the barrel. He's the low man in the totem pole. But that same guy, if he gets his shit together, focuses on his goals and his purpose and takes care of himself, that same guy in his 30s, if he starts to kind of get it with regards to understanding both human nature and female nature, that guy can go from the low man in the totem pole to way higher up and have a lot of options. So I'm going to go through this, guys. You're going to see what I'm talking about here. So it starts out saying, when I was younger, I got my heart broken by an older woman. It took about 2 months to muster up the courage to ask her out when I did. All she responded was, sorry, I don't date sophomores. No matter what I said or what nice things I did for Karen, she was out of my league since I was younger. Karen was a 17-year-old junior, and I was an incredibly good-looking and intelligent 16-year-old. I'm not making this up. This is exactly what my mom told me every time I bought her cupcakes. That's funny. The rejection was devastating until a bright light named Stephanie joined my high school as a freshman. Stephanie was Karen's younger sister, and she was hot. In fact, Stephanie was even more beautiful than her older sister, and I just had to pursue. For one semester, Stephanie and I had a frolicking good time. We hung out after school together almost every single day. She'd come home, watch my tennis matches, and I'd take her to McDonald's afterwards for some hot apple pie and McLovin. Let's just say that older sister Karen wasn't very happy with either of us. Till this day, I don't know why. Ladies, please explain. Well, I'll explain. Older sister Karen knew darn well that her younger sister was better looking than she was. Okay? And her younger sister liked this guy and was attracted to him. And this boils down to SMV, sexual market value, because her younger sister, who was better looking than her, and she knows darn well that means she's going to get more attention from guys, the younger sister has higher status than the older sister. And because the younger sister liked this guy, all of a sudden, she saw this guy in a different light. And she was therefore jealous that the younger sister has this guy when she had her shot. She would now see this guy as a higher prize because the younger sister, more beautiful, likes him. That's how it works, guys. Goes on. Women think men are immature. Perhaps it starts off in the first grade when we're running around yelling with blue Slurpee stains on our Sesame Street t-shirts. Or perhaps the perception starts in the 7th grade where we start snapping one too many bras. Maybe women think men are immature because even at 45, with our receding hair and our expanding girth, we act like college dudes chasing tail even though we no longer have game. Yeah, a lot of guys are like that, but, that's guys being guys. Yes, men are immature, but only because women let us be immature. Being a goofball is the path of least resistance. Since we were wee lads, girls have always discriminated against younger boys in school. And he's quoted saying, giving examples, he's a freshman. God, ew, so mature. Oh gosh, how lame. As a result of our consistent rejections by older women, we don't like dating older women. We've been conditioned to be afraid, therefore we stay away. I wouldn't say be afraid, it's just that, well, when we're younger, we like the older women because they're more developed and they're hot and all that. But as we get older, we want the younger women because obviously, again, it boils down to we're visual creatures and we're attracted to the best, most pretty faces, beautiful bodies, and every guy has their type. You know, some guys like thick girls, some guys like more muscular girls, some guys like girls that are skinny as beanpoles. But everybody has their types, but it all boils down to what we see. Sure, got to have a good personality. We want somebody we can click with and have fun with, but there are also plenty of guys that would hook up and date a woman that smoking hot body and face, but was dumb as a bag of hammers, or she was a raving bitch, but they would hook up with her and she's toast. A lot of guys can't do that though. Yet a funny thing happens as men get older. We get to date more and more women since there are more and more younger women to choose from. Meanwhile, as women get older, given they believe younger men are irrationally ew, their choices get smaller and smaller. Now we're getting into it, guys. In the dwindling selection of men as women get older, simply karma for rejecting us boys in school? Or is the supply shrinkage a decision by women to stubbornly continue to refuse dating younger men? And by the way, when you're younger, it isn't just younger dudes that they're not into. That's also a lot of times guys their same age. You know, I mean, most of the time when we're younger, a lot of the prettiest girls, like when you were in even junior high, but definitely high school, college, most of the time they were dating older guys. Sometimes you could be 1 or 2 grades above, but they were older guys. Okay? But for you guys that are watching this now that are, you know, in your late teens, college age, and you're frustrated, believe me, you're going to have your time, okay? Because right now you're on the lower man of the totem pole. There are certain exceptions. Certain guys, obviously, high school, college, the small percentage of guys, they can get a lot of the girls. But for most guys, we're the low man on the totem pole. Give it time. You work on your purpose. You work on your goals. You're ambitious. You take care of yourself physically, all these things. As you get older, it's going to be like shooting fish in a barrel for you. Trust me. But you just got to know what you're doing, have some game, and have some knowledge, which I try to help with every single video. Add in a little wisdom here and there and life experience to share with you guys, along with an entertaining story. Goes on, to answer these questions, I surveyed roughly 25 men and 25 women ages 21 through 45 to get their viewpoints. Let's go through some of the results. Now, 25 men and 25 women between those ages is not a huge amount for a serious study, but you can definitely get some interesting answers. Obviously, it had to be a lot higher, but it's interesting what he figures out. And what he discovers, as you're going to see, is very similar to what I've talked about in other videos, and other guys and other channels have talked about as well, backing up those views and opinions. The Golden Cross of Love. The Golden Cross of Love happens for men at age 35. With 10 plus years of savings and a career he is proud of, 35-year-old men are feeling confident. Fitness levels are generally good given illness, sports injuries, and work haven't had enough time to plague a body yet. The only thing missing from this single man's life, by definition, is a life partner. If that's what the guy wants. But more and more guys don't want that because they're waking the hell up. So they're still single by 35. They're realizing, hey, I got all these options. Pretty much I got my shit together. It's like a buffet out there. Why would I pick just one meal to have the rest of my life? And knowing darn well that one meal you pick the rest of your life can basically take half your shit whenever she wants if you get married and go through all that. And you just don't want to deal with it. By the time you're in your 30s, you're able to buy a comfortable car and a property to call your own, provided you've been saving and working since college, which I tell you guys to do. It doesn't mean you have to buy these things, but just knowing the fact that you can provide a 35-year-old man a wealth of confidence. Exactly. You have to go spend all that money, but you got the money in the bank, or in your investments, and you can if you want to. And you're doing well for yourself, you're going to feel confident. And that confidence is going to be attractive to women. They're going to notice that. And they're also going to notice that I don't give a shit kind of vibe you got there, but not in a rude way, but in a good way. Any single man in their 30s has enough rejections for women to fill a notebook that could turn into a screenplay. After a while, men become inured to a woman's dismissal. which ironically makes them more attractive because of an added level of confidence. That leads to better dialogue and approachability. We've all been rejected, guys. Most of us, a big portion of our lives. But you reach a point that you just don't give a shit. And by the way, I wanted to point out, I'm going to do a whole video on this one day. Another factor that helps you have that I don't give a shit vibe is to be a point that you can truly be alone and not give a crap, okay? What I mean by that is that you don't have to have someone in your life in terms of like a relationship, or you don't have to be dating. You're so busy focused on your goals and improving yourself that if you don't have some girl you're dating, you don't care. And that way you're not in this hungry state. And that way you don't, because if you're in a hungry state, women can pick up on that. Women can pick up on that kind of like the way a dog can sense something about someone, okay? They can pick up on that vibe. And if you come off all hungry or thirsty, as they say, that's going to turn them off. But if you don't give a shit either way, you're indifferent, that's attractive. And it also helps out in terms of like you don't settle for someone less than what you really want. And that can also be applied to friendships as well. Just wanted to give that tip. You got to really learn, guys, to be able to be on your own and not care. And by the way, I'm not saying you got to be a hermit locked away in your house and you only come out to, for air every once in a while or to get groceries. You got to be sociable and have some social skills so you're not acting like some wacko. But you don't need to have somebody around you all the time. Generally, women need to have that attention, somebody there all the time. Some guys do, but most of you don't. So you got to develop that. Just one thing I thought about there. Goes on. Of the 25 single men I surveyed, ages 30 through 40, they all agree that around 35 is the best time for a man to be single. One of the key reasons is because they find women ages 35 and younger to be the most ideal. Ding, ding, ding. Above 35 is less ideal and not bad, so please don't be offended if you are 36 plus. The 25 men simply admitted that they prefer women in this age range. So, like I said, women's prime, late teens and 20s. It doesn't mean you can't have good-looking women in their 30s and up, but it's not the same. They're not as desirable. They are guys, as we get to our 20s and into our 30s, we're rising on the totem pole. But women get to be in their 30s, they're dropping down on the totem pole in terms of who they compete with women in their 20s and so forth. Just how it is. I'm going to get some people that are going to come on the comment section and bitch about it, especially women, and not like what I have to say, but I'm just stating what is true, what a lot of people know, but they don't want to admit. The ugly truth, if you will. Goes on. What about the Golden Cross of Love for women? Interestingly enough, the 25 single women surveyed, ranging from 26 to 42, admitted that 35 is the age where it becomes less ideal for single women. Aha! In fact, a number of females responded that after 35, their dating lives fell off a cliff, partly because guys wanted to date younger women, which is consistent with women's desires to date older men. The Golden Cross of Love for women is scattered. Many said that between the ages of 25 to 28 is the most ideal age for dating. Of course, that is the prime because they're out of college, they're out of grad school, they have enough maturity, and they're still in their prime in their 20s. That is definitely an absolute top of the peak time for women. However, some said also being 30 to 33 was also very satisfying since they felt secure with themselves. Nobody said over 35 is ideal, although those above 35 have found loving older men as well. Yeah, sure. Believe me, you can get a woman who's 35 and she's pretty and takes care of herself. She's got a good attitude. She's fun to be around. She's going to get dudes, but she can get a guy that'll want to settle with her, but probably that guy is going to be 40 plus. So if she's cool with that, okay. Because for the guy in his 40s, he's still getting a younger chick. Not the same in his 20s. And by the way, I know guys that are single and date and have their shit together in their 40s. They wouldn't want to date girls in their 20s because they said they're too goddamn immature. They don't want to talk about the fucking Kardashians or whatever happens to be the thing now, okay? They prefer 34, 35 plus. That's just them. The women in the mid-30s said they mostly dated men in their 40s, which begs the question, what happened to the men ages 35 through 39? Nothing happened to them, as it goes back to the Golden Cross of Love at 35, where men have been conditioned to date younger women. The 35 to 39-year-old man is dating the under 35-year-old woman. See? Again, that's not always, but it's quite a lot. Continues. Other points from the survey. Whether a woman is 24 through 29, it doesn't matter. A 29-year-old is just as attractive to a man as a 24-year-old. The 24-year-old has no competitive advantage over the 29-year-old, in other words. I disagree, and I'm sure Leonardo DiCaprio would disagree, because that guy's been known to date women about 24, 25, and pretty much when they're 25, they're toast. But that's Leonardo, and Leonardo can do that because that's Leonardo. There is a perception difference between a 29-year-old and a 30-year-old woman, even if it's just a 1-year difference. At age 30, women and men are viewed much older than 1 year difference. Men do have a slight preference for the 30-year-old than the 35-year-old. All else being equal due to the optionality of having kids. There is a lower limit ideal age for men. The formula men like to use is half his age plus 7. A 36-year-old man prefers to date a woman 25 years old or older. Yeah, that old chop your age in half and add 7, there you go. Heard that a lot. Some women don't care about age, just like some men don't mind dating older women. That's true, guys. There are guys that like dating older women. And by the way, a lot of young guys in their 20s love hooking up with older women. They're not going to get anything serious with them, but they sure as hell don't mind hooking up with them, okay? And there are a lot of women that are older that have a blast hooking up with younger dudes because these guys are really young. They're generally in better shape, better stamina, and I don't have to elaborate what the benefit is for both parties. That's not everybody, but it does happen. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule, but there are a 20% minority. Women respond by saying that so long as there is chemistry, age doesn't matter. Men, not so much. Men focus more on the age, given there are enough women ages 21 through 35. At 60 years old, the activity for men drops off like a cliff. Since 60 is the age women surveyed would be the limit in terms of dating, since the oldest woman I surveyed was 42. However, not all is lost. Many say that 60 is the new 40, so perhaps in 10 years, women will decide that it's okay to date younger men, and all this nonsense will be for naught. Yeah, when a dude hits 60, obviously it's a different ball game at that point, but believe me, a guy in his 60s who, at this point, if you're in your 60s and you're in good shape, that usually means you spent a majority of your life working hard in the gym and eating well and all that and taking care of yourself. A guy in his 60s can get women. You're not going to see many 60-year-olds walking around with 20-something-year-olds. You can see some with 30-year-olds, but often you can have 40-somethings. But again, for the guy in his 60s dating a woman in her 40s, that's a great bargain. That's a great deal for him because she's like 20 years younger. My dad was 45 years old when he went on his first date with my mom, and she was 21. Need I say more? But my dad was a officer in the military and a doctor and had money and had status, and the dude was good looking, very charming, and the dude, he was 45, but he looked like he was about 30, so he had the youthful looks. He had the package, and so he had lots of young nurses that were hot for him, and after his divorce from his first marriage, because he had a bunch of kids, he was living it up. He didn't get into many details because it was my dad, but let's just say my mom said he was very popular with the ladies. And because my dad was very popular with the ladies, big surprise, they all wanted him. My dad had a high SMV, plus all the status and all that. And my dad lived it up, so this can happen. Continues. Men look forward to getting older. Thanks to women only wanting to date older men, and to fantastic comments from self-proclaimed attractive women in their 20s and early 30s who say they enjoy dating men 10 to 15 years their senior, men look forward to getting even older than 35. Can you imagine the golden cross of love being 35, where you get the most selection, yet attractive women pine for men in their 40s as well? Fantastico. This guy's cool. It's a good article here. Instead of harboring resentment for women who rejected you when you were younger, like they rejected me, you should embrace the rejection and be thankful. Nobody really looks forward to getting older because that's just 1 year closer to death. But thanks to women, single men everywhere are looking forward to getting old so they can play the entire field. So there you have it, guys. Again, this guy isn't an authority in anything, but this guy writes a good article and lays out some pretty good info that I've been talking about in other videos and other guys and other channels have been talking about. So for you guys out there that are younger and frustrated as hell how things are and you're the lower man in the totem pole, There is hope, brothers. Just keep taking care of yourself, work on your goals, work on your ambitions, okay? Every day, do something to improve yourself a little bit more. Now, let me make this clear. As I said before, don't just do this so you can get chicks. That is not the end-all, be-all of human existence, okay? Do it for yourself so you can make yourself happy and enjoy a good life and feel like you've accomplished something and feel good there, because most guys don't do shit with themselves. Be different. Be that guy that makes something of himself and his life. It never stops. And as a benefit, you can then attract more and more women and have a lot of fun in the bedroom. Okay? Go for it. But again, as you guys continue this on, as you get older, sky's the limit. It'll be a buffet for you if you have the things to back it up. And like I said before, it's not like women are in their 30s, 40s, 50s aren't good looking and attractive. It's just they're not the same. They're not as high in the totem pole as they were in their prime in the 20s. So in the end, guys, we win, but we got to make shit happen for ourselves to be the winners and to benefit the most. And of course, the guys that don't give a crap about women, that enjoy their lives, they got their hobbies, they got their dog, they got the things they enjoy in life, they're happy too. So ultimately, we win. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.